Well, welcome back, everybody. My name is Marc Rogers, and this is the Prospect, Produce, Prosper podcast. And you've heard his voice a million times. Mr. Matt Halloran in the house. Mr. Matt Halloran. The crowd goes wild, buddy. You've been busy, my man.
I have been very, very busy. Thanks for having me, dude. It's nice to see you again.
You know, it's interesting. I was looking at, I was searching you on LinkedIn and catching up. I see all the time. You're all over the place. You're on everybody's podcast. So, gosh, I feel so good that you would, bless us back on the podcast. We do have one of your other episodes already on, but it's been some time. So I thought, no better time. You're coming off of writing a new book.
Yep.
So that's pretty exciting. And you've co-authored, of course, other books in the past. You're the co-founder of Proudmouth,
hmm
which near and dear to my heart's my old buddy Kirk, your partner. It seems like it was yesterday when the relationship was created and born, and you two took your mega personalities and abilities and created Proudmouth.
hmm
And you guys were just getting started. It's like almost 10 years now, right?
Yeah. So this is our eighth year. Yep.
Eighth
Eight
year.
500 episodes and over 100,000 social media posts.
Is there anything left to say?
Well, I don't know. I had a lot of stuff to talk to you about marketing, about the book, about whatever you want to talk about. So,
Well, first off, catch us up on the book. Shut the F up and listen,
yeah.
which is, gosh, we all need to take classes in listening. But tell me a little bit about the book and what do we need to know?
Well, so done about 3,000 interviews, and I was on an interview he was a PR guy, and we get done with the show, and he says, Matt, that was like one of the greatest shows I've ever been on. Like, you're just an amazing host. And Mark, I went back and listened. I said like three things in the whole show, and that really got me thinking. Um, and then I started thinking back on my life and all of the different sorts of times where when I said the least, the most important and powerful things happened in the world of relationships. And so I started documenting it. I took active listening, which is what all of us have been trained to do, and I really deconstructed it and thought to myself, this is really shallow listening. I want to make something called engaged listening. So I took active
Mhm.
listening and I basically destroyed it and came up with 7 different types of listening to be able to help salespeople sell better, leaders be more effective leaders, be better in relationships. I mean, I know your family, and I know that a lot of times we as men aren't listening as well as we should to our significant others, and so there's lots of practical applications in the book. But that's the motivation behind it, is really just helping people do something that they think they already know how to do, but nobody teaches them really techniques, and nobody gives them ways to practice it so that they can implement it better in their daily life.
It's so interesting that this is coming up right now because I was just going through a bunch of research from Oxley Institute. Matt Oxley, who's one of the most famous advisor coaches, financial advisor coaches, and his whole stick was around getting more favorable introductions from your existing clients, right? Going back and actually having a process. And one of the things that he was talking about was building this core relationship. Like, people want to introduce you, they want to make introductions all day long for you if they have a personal
Right.
relationship. And what's staggering is only like 30% of people actually have a personal feel like they have a personal relationship with their advisor. Yet when you flip it around, the advisors think in a high rate, like a 70,
Yep.
80%, they've got the relationship.
Mhm.
And one of the things that Oxley talks about is, are you doing enough engaging listening? Because when your clients are talking, they're giving you these nuggets. They're telling you all about their life and who their best friends are. And if you can listen and build that core relationship, then you're going to sort of source the very best people out of who you want to be introduced to and then get those introductions. But it starts with listening. And he was just going off on this, which is just, right shoulder to shoulder with what you're talking about. We all love to be the man, right? We all love to deliver that information, and we're going to educate our clients, and we want to be these big personalities. Yet I think everybody's starving, Matt, for somebody who's real.
Well,
One of the things that I love about you and engaging with you, you're like this master Yoda in my life. It's like when the times are so freaking hard, one of the first things and the people I'll text and engage with in the depths of my life, I think about you're on that list because not only will you listen, but it's like gold, brother, of everything that comes out of your mouth, and it means something to me.
hmm, I don't know how to follow that up, dude, but I want to go back to the Oxley thing very quickly. So sorry, I don't know if your listeners can't see I'm blushing as much as I am, but um, and dude, I really appreciate that. I really do. Um, we've been taught in the world of sales that you're never supposed to ask a question you don't know the answer to, right? And that 40-30 thing that you're the 70-30 thing that you just talked about, your clients give you everything that you need in order to sell them more stuff, get a greater share of wallet, get more referrals. But we're so pig-headed on wanting to be the focus of every single solitary meeting. And the other thing that people are doing is they're listening to respond, not listening to listen. I'll give you an example.
Mm.
So I ask you a question, hey, Mark, what is one of your biggest concerns when it comes to, retirement planning? And of course, everybody asks this question. And so about 2 minutes into the explanation, you say something that is a trigger for me that I can sell you something, or is something I want to address and I'm really intelligent. And I really can't wait to educate you on. But then they keep talking for another 3 minutes. You just lost that whole 3 minutes. You lost more than half of the conversation because you were stuck in something they said so long ago. If you learn how to quiet your mind, remove yourself from the equation, and just be there to be present, what I call holding space, when you actually are present, truly listening to listen, not listen to respond, people sell themselves. So I'm going to throw another number at you. So I've used these skills that I teach in the book since I've been co-founder of Proudmouth. So I do all of the sales. I'm the face of the company. I do all of the conferences. I'm the shaking hands and kissing babies guys, which is like my favorite thing in the whole wide world to do. Um, Using these techniques, we've generated over $8 million in revenue from sales by me setting our prospects up to sell themselves. Mark, our clients sell themselves. Do I still ask for the business? Of course I do. I'm a very competent salesperson. But when you look at my sales calls, I am speaking a quarter of the time.
Mm.
I'm just letting them find their solutions. Now, am I doing a little bit of redirection, rephrasing, and reframing? Yes. Am I listening to their pace, pentameter, volume, and inflection? Yes. I'm using all of the listening techniques, but if you just shut up, man, most people want to buy from you. Stop trying to sell to them. It's just not the way things work today.
Yeah, I'll give you another thing on top of that I have found is, especially when it comes to your A clients, which if you don't have all A clients and sitting in front of you, that's a whole nother
Yeah.
conversation that we got to have, right? That it doesn't make sense to be meeting with B and C clients. But assuming you have an A client, the listening is key. And if it, not only is that a key, but you got to give people time. What I think one of the biggest mistakes that advisors make is they want to make their day busy. 11 to noon,
Yep.
12 to 1, 1 to 2, and like they barely even create time to go to the bathroom in
Mm-hmm.
between there, right? The reality is that people feel that. They feel you're on an agenda, they feel rushed. And brother, if you want deep relationships with people, book just do yourself a favor and put another 30 minutes on the time frame. Don't rush your A clients because typically they make you the most amount of money. They bring other people. And therefore, if you're in this mode of like what you're talking about, and being able to just stop, enjoy the conversation, really deepen that relationship, and you're listening, people are going to feel that when you're not rushing them.
I'm going to challenge what you just said there, because I don't think they need to build in more time. I think they just need to talk less. You will
Okay.
not believe. So, I've done 1,000 podcasts myself, and my podcasts are 30 minutes door to door, really just about no matter what. Right.
Right.
And in that 30 minutes, I am able to build a relationship with my guest that rivals any other relationship. And I'm using podcasting as that technique, but it can happen no matter where you are when you're interviewing somebody. And that's really what's happening when you have a prospect who's coming in and sitting down. This is a prospecting podcast, right? So, you have a prospect sitting down in front of you. They're highly qualified, they're highly motivated. You already know that you can solve their problems. Guess what? If they're sitting down in front of you, they already think you can solve their problem. So why don't you make yourself look totally different than every other financial services person out there and say, you know what? This meeting is for me to get to know you. I don't really want to sit here and tell you about all of the things that we can do, because here's the deal. You can do that research, and I'm assuming you did before you came, or you wouldn't be here. Tell me what your biggest concern is, and just sit back. You don't even need to take notes, even though sometimes that helps you do things like hold space and also do what I refer to as the dramatic pause, which is after somebody gets done talking, you actually take a nice slow breath through your nose and out your mouth. It takes about 5 minutes to cycle through that, because it takes 2 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds for a person to realize what they just said, for their brain to catch up. You give them that space, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, I know where I was. Oh, I want to say this too. And what happens, Mark, is the depth of the conversation continues to get deeper and deeper and deeper. And once we get down here to the good chewy nugget in the middle, then they're already there. Because here's the deal. Nobody else in your situation, no other financial advisor has shut up and just let somebody tell them what they need. And then your advisors, they can just, yep, that's what we do every day. Oh, okay. We make things so damn complicated because we need to feel like we're in control. The whole onus of this book, the whole onus of my life, is really just understanding, when you have the strength, when you are strong enough as a human being to rescind the control, the world is your freaking oyster.
Well, I'm excited to get my hands on a copy and read it, dude, because I think we can all flip and learn better, sharpen our skill set, and get better around this topic. And these are fundamentals. These are things that we think about. We want to get better, yet we don't take the time to get better. And something like what you've done is given us a structure to and a path to run on to have those great reminders. And so, dude, I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome the work that you're doing. So what does 2025 have in store for Proudmouth and Matt Halloran? What's the next chapter? What's the growth? What do you guys have going on?
Well, so much. So we'll bifurcate the question. So from a proud mouth perspective, and actually this will really resonate with you because this is how I met you. We started a coaching program. So we have what's called Sonic Boom Coaching, which is a fantastic opportunity for people who have existing podcasts to learn how to get better. I am a total nerd when it comes to everything podcasting. And so it's a 6 call system where people can go ahead and come in, and we cover everything from how to do a value proposition in the brand of your show, your target market, to performance metrics, planning, social media interaction. We really cover the whole gambit. And then we have regular SBC, which is Sonic Boom Coaching, which is if you want to learn how to start your own podcast, we will walk you through on 6 calls. And by that 6th call, you should have everything set up to get rolling. So we're super excited about that. First class, we just kind of ran a beta with a bunch of pretty close people who I'm pretty close to run through, just to iron out all of the kinks. And Mark, man, it's absolutely fantastic. We're also expanding our services. So we have what we call our managed influence acceleration program, which is what we do all day. The podcasting video system with the social media support. We're actually really expanding on that. So really, no matter what your marketing budget is, if you really truly want to have a very, very structured content marketing, what we refer to as an influence foundation, so that you can stop being the best kept secret in your area. That's what we do here at Proudmouth all day. And we're offering more and more services. Really, every month, we're starting to bring more stuff on. And then when it comes to Matt Halloran, my big focus is really just trying to get the word out about the book. My goal is to do 10 keynote speeches this year. I've got 3 already booked, which I'm excited about because it's not even the beginning of the year yet. Um, but this is a real passion project for me, Mark. Um, One of the big things that I've found, and there's a lot of data to show this, is we're really focused. Focus is not the right word. There has been such a focus on loneliness that people don't really seem to understand the gravity of it. And from COVID, from what's been going on politically in the world, people feel unbelievably lonely. And there it's an epidemic of loneliness. And the problem is everybody is out there just like yelling into the void, expecting and hoping that somebody will just show that they're listening, not agree with you, but just show that you're listening. But I didn't see a lot of people teaching how to show people how to listen. And so this is my mission for, well, as long as I'm going to be able to be here, to really truly help people really embrace this as something you have to practice. And is something that really can fundamentally change society by just really shutting up, listening, showing people that you care, that you love them unconditionally. And this sounds really corny, but it's just part of who I am as a human being. And I think it's really, really important for us to practice. And I'd actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to leave your audience with an exercise so that they can practice one of the skills that's in my book. But that's only if you want me to do that.
Please, are you kidding me? Let's do it.
Okay. So this is one of my favorite exercises in the whole wide world. And in fact, it borderlines on being a little creepy. So I need to preface it with that. So what you're going to do is you're going to go out with your favoriteest person in the whole wide world, your wife, your husband, your significant other, your best friend, your kids. I don't care who it is. Right. And you're going to go to a restaurant or a public place, can be a subway station, it can be a bus station, can be downtown, it can be at a restaurant or coffee shop, and you're going to sit next to each other side by side. Okay, so you're not going to be sitting facing each other, side by side, and you're going to pick a couple within earshot of you. You're going to agree on who you're going to listen to, and then you're going to answer 3 simple questions. Number 1, what is the nature of their relationship? Number 2, what are they talking about? And number 3, what do you think the desired outcome for each of them is by that conversation? So those are the 3 things. Mark, this is such a powerful thing to do. You can do that for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now, don't just stare at them and be creepy. That's the creepy component of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then
Right.
what you're going to do is you're going to compare notes. But there's so many layers to this, and I'm only going to uncover one. When you're in a really crowded space, it's going to be very easy to get distracted by all of the other conversations. And what we don't understand is you can focus your listening very, very specifically, almost like you focus your vision. And that is an exercise, that's a muscle that I believe, in order to truly have engaged listening, that you have to be able to block everything out. And this ends up becoming something that you will crave to do with your friends. And then you get done and then you compare notes. Okay, so what was the nature of the relationship? Well, I think they were dating. I don't think so. I think they were old friends, and this was like they were reuniting. Anyway, you can create this wonderful narrative. But it's a great relationship building opportunity for you and your friend that you're doing it with. But it's also a great way to truly practice listening.
I love that. And I love to people watch. So that just goes hand in hand with that. That is so good. Gives me purpose to my people watching. This is
Uh,
great.
Thanks,
I
brother.
love this, man. Well, you mentioned you want to do 10 major speaking. So I'm going to put an offer on the table.
Mhm.
I would love to at least get one of those where you would come. in June, we have our top producer
Oh,
retreat, and we're doing it at Sundance Mountain Resort, which is the old Robert Redford
yeah.
uh, property down in Utah. And so it's kind of like we've done some other kind of cool places all over. We have yet to do, since I've started Producers Prospect, a big event
Hmm,
in my home. And this property is so magical and special. This is kind of like where Sundance Film Festival started, and it's just this unbelievable place.
hmm,
And I'm going to send you the link to all about the mountain, because I think you'll just geek out about it and the whole story. But it's going to be a special place, and we're going to have the core top producers there of our team. It's 3 days, and we're going to have some outside of the box speakers actually digging into relationship and mindset. And so you would just put right in there, I got a blank check in the drawer here, so you just tell me, with all due respect, what I can get you to get out of Detroit and get you to the
sure.
mountains, man. But we'd love to have you if you want to do that.
Absolutely love to be there. Those are the sorts of events that I really excel at, where people are coming in because they're not just hearing about the newest products or anything like that, or the newest tech, that they're really learning how to be better people. And Mark, that's one of the things that I've always respected about you so much, is you really look at an advisor as an actual human being, not just a person who's producing and dropping tickets. And I think that's one of the reasons why you've had such unbelievable success and such deep relationships with your advisors who are working with you. As before you came on, I was talking to the producer, and I've known you for, well, since 2008. And I always thought that you always brought something different to the table. And quick commercial for you, dude. I work with a whole bunch of other organizations kind of like yours, FMOs or IMOs. Nobody does what you guys are doing. Again, not even in the same league of what you guys are doing. And dude, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for what you're doing. And I'm so glad that you're bringing all of this great opportunities for advisors to look different, feel different, be different, and just do better work.
I appreciate you saying that, Matt, because it's hard. It's hard to start in the landscape of IMO business. Good and bad. I think the 300 competitors that are out there today, the bulk of those were really started back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a lot of these IMOs, FMOs, they got this big distribution, they do these big sales numbers, so that always is attractive, and that means that they're so great, and all that stuff. And hat off to them, they are great. They do bring a lot of value, I believe. Um, and so here's little old me, and I've been around in this space for a
Mhm.
long time, and I've tried my best. And sometimes, what I can give to them is the relationship. What I can give to them is somebody who cares, somebody that will run through a brick wall for them when they need it in those tough times, always be an ear to listen to them and care about them. That I'll jump on a plane at any time and go do seminars and be in their market. Yeah, I don't have the private planes to fly them out. I can't throw a party, at the Sphere in Las Vegas. I can't do a lot of these massive, great things. But, I feel like we are a family, and I really dig in, and I think that that's maybe a lost art a little bit into our business. We got a lot of really cool tools that I think that we bring to an advisor's practice. We can help scale. We can do a lot of those things, but I've just owned the thought that bigger is not always better, that a deep relationship, this may be the Jerry Maguire coming out in me,
Mhm.
right? It's the few and deep relationships where you feel like you truly do care about them and dig in. And I think people are starving, Matt, for that. I think authentic relationships is what people are looking for. At least that's what I hope. And I think that that's, something that we bring to the table. We're not a fit for everybody, but what we do, feel like we do really well is we care. We care about those things. And I have just unbelievable people that are around me.
Mhm.
I think the core of the folks that are on my team, shoulder to shoulder with me in all the different aspects, whether you're talking to James, on our marketing team, or you're talking to Nick Johnson on the annuity sales desk, or Kim's handling your applications. Like, everybody are just such good quality people, and that's really hard to reproduce. People are just, I think it's hard to find. So I really appreciate you saying that. We're trying to grow and build, and we're on this big hockey stick of production, which is great. But sometimes you lose relationships, and it's interesting when somebody chooses somebody else. You go through the heartache of that a bit, especially the ones you care about the most. And then, sometimes the grass isn't always greener, and sometimes they find a way back. So you just try to keep that door open. So I want to shift a little bit with the time that I have left with you, and I want to talk about the elephant in the room, which is, why in the world do financial advisors, why are they not getting involved of doing their own podcasts? When you talk to advisors out there, they're like, no, Matt, and da 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 da. Why are they not doing it?
One, because I think they have unrealistic expectations on what podcasts can do for them. So a lot of people come in and they think that this is just going to generate them a whole bunch of leads. That's not what real content marketing does. It is a result of content marketing, but that's not what the core foundation is. The number one reason why clients leave a financial advisor is they don't feel that the advisor is communicating enough with them. That's it. Number one. Kitces report, every report has been saying that for a really long time. And we solve that in spades. But Mark, it's impossible to quantify that because you don't ask your clients all the time, are you about to leave me? Right. So it's very difficult to go ahead and show a standard ROI on podcasting. Now, can you get greater share of wallet? Is it easier to refer somebody to a podcast than it is to call my guy? Does it help you build deep relationships with those centers of influence so you increase your referrals? Yes. Do you get new business from it? Absolutely. But the foundation really needs to be the right focus, which is education, client communication, and social proof that you are that expert. And we believe that that has substantial value. The other thing is advisors don't spend what they should on marketing. High growth firms spend 14% of gross, not net, on marketing. Most advisors are spending 2 to 3%. And they're wondering why they're not growing, right? So
Right.
you got to get to that 10% part. If you're hitting that bogey, you're growing. And you can actually have controlled growth too, because if you do have a strong content marketing strategy with a podcast, you're going to be attracting your ideal client. Now, there's one other quick thing I want to say about that, because you can't really use this is where a lot of people fall down with this, is you can't use a podcast to everybody, because you're never going to outspend Ken Fisher ever. You're never going to outspend any of the big companies, right? So
Yep.
you really
Yep.
have to have a niche. You really have to have a focus. We've got a guy in Minneapolis. He only works with medical technical salespeople. And people are like, well, God, that's a small niche. No, there are 30,000 of them in the tri-city, the sister cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, alone. The guy can handle 20 new clients a year, right? 30 if he wants. That's 1%, dude. Right. So it's really a game of focus. It's a game of discipline. And it's a game of understanding that really good marketing is like slow cooked food. It takes a long time for it to happen, but then it just hits that turning point, and that barbecue just falls off the bone. Same thing with marketing.
Hmm.
And we know that it's about 6 to 9 months before you really start seeing that escape velocity. And when you do, that's when things change.
All right. So let's give somebody a nugget, right? That's listening. How important is the name of your podcasts, and why is that important?
It's the most important thing. It is the most important thing also with the description, because what you have to understand is we have a very simple life now in the world of marketing, which is all we're supposed to do is please the algorithm. And if you understand how the algorithms work, then you can find out how to please them. So here's what you do. You want to come up with the name of your podcast, go to AI, go to Google. I don't care if you're freaking out about AI. Go to Google and type in, what is the best podcast name for my ideal target market. So you need to be very specific. I want to work with oral surgeons in Salt Lake City who are 55 and who are preparing to sell their business. Guess what? It's going to tell you the answer. And if the internet tells you that's the answer, that's what people are searching for. In fact, Mark, that's one of the greatest things that you can do is what are the biggest questions that, orthopedic surgeons are asking about retirement? The internet tells you there's your content. It's not difficult. It's not simple. It's not easy to execute, but at least all of that stuff's right in front of you, man. So the podcast art, how you describe your show infused with SEO keywords, and then also making sure that you have impeccable audio. You have those things ticked, you're good to go.
I love it. I've always thought about podcasting being, how I describe it as a second, third date, and you keep dating somebody, right? You know me, I'm a big firm believer in doing seminars,
Yeah.
whether you're doing educational seminars or you're doing dinner seminars. And what I explain to people are gone are the days that you send out an invitation and then you maybe you call one time to confirm you want the chicken or the steak, and then they show up and they're first meeting you for the first
Yeah.
time. And then you do the seminar, and then your follow-up process is calling people or sending emails or whatever you do as a follow-up process. How and you hit on the pandemic, how the pandemic has changed, fundamentally changed even seminars are if you don't live and breathe on the internet to the same standard that you're meeting that first date at. Like, let me give you an example. If you're feeding people inside Ruth Chris,
Hmm.
then your materials need to feel like Ruth Chris. Your website needs to feel like Ruth Chris.
Hmm.
Your office needs to feel like Ruth Chris. And by the way, your marketing and content, your podcast, everything else should feel that same way. It should all match, right? So, for an example, what we teach is the fundamentals. You got to have a podcast. Everybody comes in, you got to have one. And we're going to do an interview. So I do this interview where I get to know the advisor. We use High Level as our marketing CRM system. And when that person initially registers, they instantly get a video, and it's the advisor welcoming them and thanking them. And they're getting all of these touches, including their podcast, sending to these people, hey, get to know your host who's buying you dinner on Tuesday night. And we're warming them up. We're building that
Hmm.
thought leadership. It's kind of, I've explained to an advisor, when your favorite band is coming to the town, you start seeing billboards, and now it's all over the internet, and it's starting to get you all excited and hyped up. We want to kind of create that rock star
Hmm.
brand, that same experience for that seminar, and then the follow up. You know, I, people are Advisors get so turned up on ROI that somebody doesn't come to a dinner seminar on Tuesday night, and Wednesday they're not like, here, Matt, here's all my money. What I explain to people is, before you ever got married, how many dates did you go on? Now, was every date Ruth Chris? No, there was different activities.
Hmm.
So you may have had Ruth Chris as your first date, your podcasts, follow up, the webinar, the email, all these touches and events and education come nurturing that relationship. So fundamentals of every financial advisor is this. Yet people get so nervous
Yeah.
about it. Here's one, right? So I'm in meeting an advisor a couple of weeks ago. We're doing a seminar. And he's like, Mark, I know you've been telling me to get my podcast going. So look at what I found. I found an AI system, and the AI system will record my voice. I got to just record this thing
Hmm.
for however long it was. And then I can punch up scripts and I can throw that into AI, and that'll create all my podcasts done for me. I don't have to worry about it. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Let me hear some of it. So of course he all excited, he plays it, and I'm like, this doesn't even sound like you.
Hmm.
This isn't your voice. People can feel. I don't feel like you care. And you missed it. You missed the whole point of it,
Yeah.
which is people want to find out who you are. People want to know you. They want to laugh along with you. They don't want it cold, and they'll feel that. It's like, think of the effort that they know you put into that. you know?
Yeah.
So how is AI impacting podcasting? What are the good things? What are the bad things, Matt? And
Yeah.
what should people avoid doing?
Well, so that they should totally avoid doing that. That's a terrible idea. Um, well, so AI is amazing as you want it to be, and it's as terrifying as it is. So I think one of the biggest and best ways to use AI is to ask it questions to give you ideas for the content that we know that the world is searching for. It can also help you plan the show. It can help you come up with your talking points. AI helps with the transcription process. AI actually does help with some of the post production audio editing. So some of that stuff we still have humans actively involved, which is why our cost we're a premium service. But I think it's absolutely fantastic. But I think a lot of people are thinking that it's just gonna, they're going to hammer out a script, which by the way is the worst way to do a show, and then they're just going to read the script and people are going to listen. That's not where it is. AI is as powerful as you know how to ask it questions, and what it can come up with is phenomenal. But if you just ask it crappy questions, it's garbage in, garbage out. You're just going to get terrible answers. And unfortunately, that advisor, thinks that that's going to save him a whole bunch of time. But what it's doing is it would be damaging any relationship that they have. Um, because it isn't them, it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real, right? AI is not to the point yet where it's going to be able to get all of the micro inflections. In fact, one of the things that I teach is pace, pentameter, inflection, and volume, and how you have to listen to those four things. And when you listen to those four things, you can really suss out what's the subtext of the conversation. AI doesn't get that yet. Now, here's the deal: it will. In fact, Mark, and it's going to be a little bit of a digression, but just bear with me. People now aren't worried about artificial intelligence; they're concerned about super intelligence, because
Mm.
artificial intelligence is really good for us. Super intelligence is when it is going to be able to fundamentally think better, smarter, faster than us, and do extrapolations and calculations and all of the stuff that we could never do. But here's the one thing that I want all of your advisors to know. I don't care what super intelligence can do. I don't care what AI can do, because people don't buy that. They buy you. They buy your relationship, they buy that connection that they feel, and AI is never going to be able to achieve that in my lifetime at least.
Amen, brother. Amen. So, if our listeners want to get more information on your coaching program,
Mhm.
some of the things going on at Proudmouth, or even get hooked up on your super cool book, how can they do that?
Well, so Proudmouth, everybody should just follow me on LinkedIn. I mean, I post there, as you know, all the time. And you
Yep.
can DM me through there. I respond to all of my own direct messages on LinkedIn. You can go to proudmouth.com and fill out a contact us form. I provide a free consultation for anybody who's interested in the coaching program to see if you're a good fit or which program you should be in. And then for my book, if you can go to Amazon and type in "Shut the F Up." And listen book, and my book will come right up. Or you can go to matthalloran.com and find out a little bit more about me.
You're the man. I appreciate you so much, more than you know.
Thanks, brother.
Happy holidays. Thank you so much. And for those that are listening, if you do want to get connected with Matt and you missed all of that, you can obviously go to producersprospect.com. You can click on talk to us now. That goes right to my own personal calendar and gets a time set. And Matt and I can jump on with you, and happy to see how we can help you grow your business in 2025 and beyond. Matt, appreciate you. Say hi to Mr. Lowe for me, and talk at you soon.